morning. Welcome to the ITM 2024 in Turkey. So we are sitting with the Smatex solution where we are talking with the co-founder of the company. So just introduce yourself and your company, what the company is doing.
Yeah. Hi. Nice to meet you. Happy to be here. My name is Gilberto. I am a co-founder and the CEO of Smatex. And I work in textiles for more than 15 years. I know I look very young, but my first job was actually in the knitting and quality control part of the textile supply chain because of my family background. And one day, I was promoted to be the inspection manager of a textile factory, which is the most terrible job in a textile factory. It is inspecting fabrics day and night and try to search for defects. And that was my moment that we realized that inspection is very difficult, needs to be automated. But even worse than that, even if I was a perfect inspection worker, I cannot save anything because the defects were already produced 5 hours ago. So that was the inspiration to build Smatex, to build systems of cameras and artificial intelligence to inspect fabrics automatically and be reactive and not be proactive and not reactive inside textile machines. So we started 5 years ago. Three co-founders, engineers, physics, and mathematicians solving this problem. Right now, we are 140 engineers, mostly software engineers. We have headquarters in the US, America, but main offices in Portugal, Europe, and also in Turkey, in Istanbul. We are now opening India and Bangladesh as well. We have over 100 clients. We are growing exponentially every year with over 1,000 knitting machines equipped with our systems. And we are developing new technologies every month. We are with amazing releases. We have amazing releases here as well for ITM. So in a nutshell, that's us.
Okay. So what inspired and motivated to start this? Like even if you are working, but starting the entrepreneur journey is a difficult one. So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur and
Yeah.
start it?
So the textile industry, compared with other industries, is very much behind in terms of technology, adoption, automation. If you go to a car factory or an electronics factory, you see cameras everywhere, QR codes everywhere, automation everywhere. In a textile factory, you still see pen and paper in all the machines. You still see human labor, very intense human labor. And that's because the materials are very complex. The industry is still very cheap. The prices are very low. So it's very difficult to input technology on it. I think this is the best year ever. This is the best century ever to work in technology for textiles because there is a huge room for improvement. There is lots of wastes that we can save, lots of inefficiencies that we can solve with technology. And artificial intelligence and machine learning is now much more affordable. The hardware is much more affordable. So now is the right time to really work in this industry and create a massive impact. I can tell you, our main investors are from Apple and Google entrepreneurs, like Mr. Tony Fadell. He was the inventor of the iPhone and the iPod, and he's also seeing many of the trends in other industries happening now in textiles, like machine learning, continuously developing and becoming more and more affordable and more scalable. So we are seeing that everywhere in the world. We have price pressure from the brands. We have human resources pressure. Nobody wants to work in textiles. It's very not sexy, right? It's very difficult. And we see also the energy prices and lots of pressure to be efficient. So now a bunch of factors are combined to be the best year ever to work in automation and AI for textiles. So that was part of our inspiration. And of course, my childhood traumas when I was inspecting fabrics, that was really horrible. That's always inspiring me to do a better job. There is some stories that we had in the factory, for example, the dye houses. They called us and they were like, "Hey, Gilberto, the fabrics is full of defects. What are you doing there?" And I was like, "Dudes, I don't know. I don't even know if that fabrics is my fabrics. or use my neighbor's fabrics because there is no way to prove. And that was also an inspiration for us to build products like Loop, the QR code system, to track every single roll, and many other products like Fact, the online platform, so we can keep track of all the pictures of the defects and all the pictures of the rolls, so nobody can swap rolls or hide defects. So we are bringing a bunch of transparency tools to the middle of the chain, which is pretty much impactful and beautiful to see.
Okay. So you had started this, QR code, the loop system. So what is the future of this traceability, and how much textile industry and brands are adopting it?
Yeah. So traceability is something that nobody is willing to pay for. Okay.
Yes.
There is no money there. Like the fashion brands don't pay for it. The consumers don't pay for it. So we see traceability as the reverse side of the coin of sustainability. You can just improve what you measure, right? So if you are measuring what you produce, you can improve it. And nowadays, in most of the textile factories of the world, people don't really know like how much yarn they consume, how much defects they have, how many garments they produce per kilo. Sometimes in the factories there are yarn swap, roll swap. There is defective rolls that are hidden from the management. They didn't even show up in the ERP. So we see tons and tons of inefficiencies in textile factories that we can solve with cameras and QR codes. So we make sure everything that is photographed is stamped with QR codes, and then we can track it in the chain. So it makes really impossible for people to hide inefficiencies. And because of that, we can improve inefficiencies and become much more sustainable. So we see traceability as a sustainability tool. Now, there is lots of trends about digital product passports or about like sustainability in general for the fashion brands, reduce water, reduce whatever consumables, that fashion brands are demanding more and more from the manufacturers. And we see that Loop and Fact and Core, all our products, being part of those demanding type of tools. Although it's still not mandatory, I think now it's just suggestible, but sooner or later this will become a no-brainer for the industry.
Okay. So as you said that brands are not paying, that no the consumer are paying. So who will pay the cost of this traceability, and how you make the money from traceability software system?
Yeah, so we need to reduce waste so the manufacturers can get better margins and use those savings to pay for these technologies. For example, we always price our systems as a percentage of the savings that they create, right? I am not expecting fashion brands to pay more for the fabrics. I am not expecting the consumers to pay more for the garments, right? So whatever we do, we need to create savings in the factory so they have better margins and they can use those margins to pay for these technologies. It needs to be always be ROI driven sell.
Okay. So what do you advise to all the fashion brands, whether they have to do this necessary, because there is no compliance for this, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
For any government.
yeah.
So why should they take and why should they adopt this traceability?
Yeah. So most fashion brands they advise suppliers to have certifications. Yeah. Certifications are a bit of a joke sometimes because it's like a 1 day per year type of analysis, right? And with these systems, the factories are 100% monitored, right? 24/7 monitored. They can monitor their production, they can monitor their quality. So it's 100%. There is no way to fool the system, right? So we see the factories that are using these technologies, they have everything controlled 100%, and there is no way to fool the system. So it's much more efficient than a certification. It's much more impactful than the certification. Actually, certifications, the factories need to pay for it. So that cost is going somewhere hidden in the cost of the garments, right? And with these systems, we are actually reducing the price of the garments because we are increasing efficiencies of the process. So we advise also, of course, brands, and many brands we have partnerships. Some brands they are our investors as well. They invested in our capital. We advise them to have their suppliers using these systems because it will be a win-win-win. They will win, the brands will win, the consumers will win, we win, we make business with it as well. So it's just like there is no excuse to not use it, you know.
Okay. So the last is you are a young entrepreneur. So what is your advice to the young entrepreneur who are coming up and starting up their own startups?
Yeah.
So what should they taking care of when they start the company and
Yeah.
the startup? Yeah.
It's tough. This industry is really tough, and you see lots of skeptical people. You see lots of incumbent brands, like very old family business brands, saying that yeah, you will never make it. You are super young. You don't know what you are talking about. And it's funny because usually the established brands they start with ignoring us, then speaking bad things about us, denying, right? They are in denial phase, and then eventually they sometimes they sue you, right? They can try to put barriers for you to get in some factories, sometimes legal barriers and things, and eventually they accept you. I think we are now in this last stage that many of the industry leaders are accepting Smartex. You see here in ITM, you can find Smartex in 8 different booths, in 8 different machines, in textile machines, knitting machines. Santoni, Monarch, Tarot, Jingmei, Unitex, Vagdets, like all of them are using Smartex now in their machines at the trade show. So we are now in this stage that everybody is accepting. But it's a difficult journey. It takes time. It takes a bit of craziness and to not accept the current systems, right? You need to challenge the current systems. I have heard many people saying that cameras will always be impossible to see certain defects, so it will never be scalable. And now we are scaling in 10 countries in the world, right? So we need to challenge a bit the existing ecosystem. Of course, it's also very capital intensive, so you need to have lots of capital to invest. And it's technology intensive. You need to have lots of people to do it. We have now 140 engineers, and the products need still to continue to improve. We are improving our products every month. Our clients, they are receiving updates every month. So whatever they bought 2 years ago, they are getting it better every month, right? So the advice I would give to young entrepreneurs, I understand that the industry is not sexy, and but it is the best time ever to work in this industry because we have AI, blockchain, machine learning, we have computer vision, we have hardware becoming more and more cheap, we have software becoming more and more democratized, and this industry really needs technology because you have tons of waste, tons of inefficiencies, and if you really want to make an impact in the world, I will really advise you to look at the textile industry instead of looking to whatever marketing, social media, software, whatever. That's already super optimized. Look at the industries that really change the world and have an impact in the universe, and textile is definitely one of those.
Okay. Thank you so much for your views. Wish
Like,
you all the best for the exhibition.